What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a ban list prediction video for July WTQ. Whenever there's a ban list, we're going to be doing it. Hopefully there's one soon because this format is getting stale. We have a few problems that clearly must be addressed. So let's begin as always with the banned cards. And starting things off, no surprise, should be a card on almost everyone's ban list, wish list, Albion the Sanctifier Dragon. It's become a problem not because of the card itself, but for what it can summon. And the problem here is everyone is summoning a gimmick puppet, which is just going to lock their opponents out of the game. The issue is, if we ban the gimmick puppet, then the problem just becomes, oh, we can play Jowgen, Ra's Disciple, Edo, any of the other cards that just do stupid locks on your opponent. This card enables them. While this card isn't exactly a problem itself in the branded deck, it is a problem for what it can actually summon. So is there much more reason to say this card should be banned? It's just unhealthy for the game. Following Albion the Sanctifier Dragon, another card which is also unhealthy for the game is none other than Hot Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamities. Now, while this card might not be as prevalent in the meta right now, this card will, whenever it does come up, or a deck that can easily make this, it becomes a problem. This is just another line of cards which shouldn't be allowed in the game. It's another thing that says your opponent can't play the game. Right now, the only deck that can take really effective use of this card is Centurion. However, I don't want to see a card in the game like this, and you shouldn't either. This card just doesn't let you play, and that's not what playing the game is all about. So King Calamities, another card that should just be banned. The next card that is on the list for bans is a card I don't really believe will get banned at the moment, but I do believe will get banned in the future, and that is Apollousa, Bow of the Goddess. I feel as though whenever I'm personally playing a combo deck, that I'm now, just for whatever reason, saying, okay, how can I make Apollousa in the most effective way so that I'm not going to lose to hand traps? And it's just, even in a Yubel deck, it doesn't feel like this isn't something that you should be doing. It feels like this is just a really good card that everyone's going to make because it says negate your opponent's effects. And now that we've seen Rarity Collection 2 essentially run its course through sales and distributors, Konami, I feel like it's the time that they'll say, okay, every deck is making Apollousa, let's just get the thing away, let's ban this card, it doesn't need to be in the game anymore, let's force people to have to find another thing to play and buy more product. The next hit I have on my list is more, again, of a speculative hit. I don't know if this will necessarily happen in the next list, but it definitely needs to be addressed sooner rather than later, and that is Beatrice, Lady of the Eternal. This card can send anything in your deck to the graveyard, and with the new Fiendsmith support, that's the only reason I think this card sticks around for a little bit longer, unfortunately. This card will enable things like the Nightmare Griffin lock, which with Beatrice you send any floodgate you want from your deck to the graveyard, and then just make Nightmare Griffin to reset that floodgate to your field. It also just allows you to do a full Snake Eyes combo, which should not be allowed, or just do anything else you want. In fact, it can even just say, well, we can just send Tempai Dragon Pydra. It makes the Tempai Dragons do something more going first now. Again, this card, I feel like for a lot of reasons, we look back at the old tier limit format in Power of the Elements, where Curious, the Link monster, which could send anything from the deck to the grave, was banned because it was very degenerate. Beatrice is becoming that way. It used to be, oh, but Beatrice is a little bit more difficult to summon because you need 2 level 6 monsters. But we now have access to generic level 6 monsters in the form of Bestials, as well as archetypes are getting level 6s out easier than ever. I think it's time that Beatrice has run its course. We should be banning this card. And for the final card on the ban list, don't think I almost forgot, Snake Eyes has been dominating the competitive Yu-Gi-Oh scene for, I think, since February now, so we're in the end of June, coming up to July. It's time that we address Snake Eyes. And I feel as though everyone is trying to dance around the problem of Snake Eyes there is one simple solution to make Snake Eyes a checked deck without banning a bunch of cards. And that is simply ban Flamebird's Dragon. Flamebird's Dragon is the simple reason why Snake Eyes works as a complete deck. If you ban Flamebird's Dragon, you also leave the Snake Eyes as support for other fire archetypes like Rescue Ace and Fire King, but they don't make it a degenerate payoff, saying, oh, I'm going to summon Flamebird, and it's just going to give me all the board presence protection and effect interactions that I need. You ban Flamebird, there's a recursion limit. This deck doesn't become a deck anymore, it becomes an engine. And as a generic engine for fire decks, that's actually a really good thing. But Flamebird's Dragon is the problem card here, and I'm surprised more people are not just saying, oh, we should ban Flamebird. I see a lot of discussion for original Sinful Spoils Snake Eyes. I don't really want to ban that card, and I don't think Konami will ban that card. For one, Age of Overlord is one of the sets that's getting reprinted in the Mega Tins, so it makes a lot of sense to see this card as a reprint with cards like Dear Bellstar and Wanted, that it wouldn't make a lot of sense to ban it, as no one would want to buy the Mega Tins, and Konami, after all, is a business, so they're looking at a business. If you ban Flamebird's Dragon, there's still marketing potential with Snake Eyes, again, as a engine, just not as a dominant deck. Now let's move to the limited section, and newly limited, I think we can reasonably expect Summon Sorceress to come out in the TCG. This card has received an errata in the OCG, and at this point in time, we are just waiting for an announced printing of it. If not already, it has an announced printing, maybe I'm forgetting that. But we do see when a card gets an errata, it generally comes off the ban list to limited, and then as a trial, and then it will either move up to unlimited status if the errata has put this card in check, and if it hasn't, then in the case of Imperial Order, it will just get banned again. Not much really to say there. Moving on, we're now going to do some more Snake Eyes hits. This deck is still a problem in the format, and just banning Flamebirch doesn't necessarily fix the problems entirely. So what better way to fix it than limiting Snake Eyes Ash and Snake Eyes Poplar. Both of these cards are very, very powerful. We know what they can do at just one of them. This reduces their consistency enough just to make them engine pieces of consistency for other fire deck strategies. It doesn't make Snake Eyes a standalone very good strategy, but for something like Fire King or Rescue Ace, this can actually do a lot. And those decks are not a problem. No one had a problem with the Snake Eyes cards before, when Poplar wasn't around in Rescue Ace, or if it was in Fire Kings. Just we limit these cards, and then it says, okay, future fire support. You now have something to help you out. So why not take away the tyranny of Snake Eyes a little bit further? Another card I reasonably think we could see come back to 1 is Heavy Storm. Heavy Storm has been in the OCG at 1 for quite a while. It seems reasonable that we could see this card come back to the TCG at some point. Additionally, with the introduction of the new Yubel support in Battles of Legend, I feel like this card could reasonably come back and help out stuff like, say, the Unchained cards. Unchained Yubel is a very popular strategy, and why not just make the deck a little bit better and help sell the product a bit more? Additionally, we already have cards like Harpy's Feather Duster, Lightning Storm, and an array more of back row removal. Heavy Storm doesn't feel like it would be overly broken, especially when something like Harpy's Feather Duster is in the format. So we've seen from the OCG, this card has not made a dramatic impact, but it would just be another selling point for Battles of Legend Terminal Revenge. And the final card I have for the limits, shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, is Skill Drain. Skill Drain has become a staple card in almost every Snake Eyes deck, mostly in the side, and some are even playing it in the main deck now. We are looking at the trends here. Konami has gone by a trend of limiting, and in the case of Summon Limit, banning all of the floodgates. We have Skill Drain just seems like the next choice in a line of obvious choices. We've already got Rivalry, there can only be one, Anti-Spell, Goes and Match. Just all of them have been limited to 1. Skill Drain feels like it should be the next rifle progression. Could it be banned? It could be banned as well, like Summon Limit. However, I do expect this card just to get hit on the limited list and fall in line with the rest of them. Now for the semi-limits, again, not too much here because I don't feel like there's too much of a problem in the current format. But one thing I think we could see come up to 2 is the Unchained Soul Lord Shavara. Shavara is a card which is going to be used in a lot of Yubel decks, but as an engine piece. If you bring this card to 2, it just helps push the Yubel cards a little bit further because they are all fiends and Shavara wants to destroy things. Shavara destroys a Yubel. Yubels can then use their effects to pop off. It just makes sense to have this card come up to 2. It should never have gone to 1 in the first place. This was the worst hit they could have done to hurt Unchained, but I think Unchained plus Yubel, rather than just playing a few Unchained cards with like Shavara and the traps to do your Unchained stuff to further trigger Yubel cards, why not just make a whole new deck with you can play Yubel and Unchained cards? It doesn't seem like something that is out of the realm of possibility. Unchained cards plus Yubel, let's bring them back. Let's help support people who want to play the new decks as well as help sell more product. The next card I have for semi-limit is something I don't know if will happen. I'm not sure if will happen at all, but we're going to take a shot at Cash Tier Fenrir. This card has been something that's been played in multiples across the format for a good while. It feels like this card's kind of run its course and it's appropriate time for it to be hit on the list. I think limiting it might be a little bit too harsh, so I think we can try to maybe semi-limit it, somewhat hurt them. This way it still has a generic search in your deck of the other Fenrir, but it doesn't have to be like, oh, let's put 3 Fenrir in the deck as just a good thing to play, or let's side 3 Fenrir. It just restricts that consistency a little bit more, I guess. Maybe, we'll see. I don't know. Just Fenrir seems like a natural hit to go to 2 and then eventually go to 1 and then possibly follow the OCG and get banned. And finally, the unlimits. I don't want to spend too much time on the unlimits because realistically, if we wanted to go through the ban list, we could probably pick 30 cards that could reasonably be unlimited and have no impact on the format as it is. So I'm just going to pick what I think is the most likely candidate, and that is moving Pancratops from 2 to 3. That seems like a reasonable expectation. The card has done near nothing at 2 copies, so I don't really see it being a problem at 3, and it would just make sense. So why not Dino Wrestle Pancratops to 3 and call that a list. That's going to be it for the ban list prediction today / ban list wish list. Thank you very much for watching. I hope everyone enjoyed the list. If there's cards I didn't address or you think should have been addressed, let me know down in the comments section below. I'd love to hear from all people watching your opinions.